It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, October 20th. So we have the moon in Gemini energy here all day, which means that our curiosity is piqued. We're a little bit more extroverted. We have a lot of mental processing going on. We are definitely asking the right kind of questions to receive the kind of information and details that we feel that we need to feel informed to make a decision, to make a choice. Of course, still weighing the scales, the pros and cons, if you will. We're still in Libra season. We're at the final degrees of Libra season. So the intensity, feeling that we have to make a choice, feeling that we have to make a decision is definitely overpowering. The moon in Gemini is going to add to that teeter-totter because, of course, the Gemini energy represented by the twins. We're kind of taking a look at both sides of the coin. We're trying to see things from different angles, if you will. And of course, because there is a lot of information to process, a lot of perspectives to actually challenge, if you will, we're definitely going to be all up in the headspace. Again, trying to come to some sort of decision, some sort of choice point, some sort of understanding, but probably having difficulty in doing so. There are 12 different aspects popping off here today. 10 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon is going to semi-square, create a little bit of tension and conflict with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy. This is us definitely not feeling our best selves, not feeling confident, not feeling clear. And of course, when there is indecision, when there is this urgency, this impulse to make a decision and we can't quite get there, we start kind of beating ourselves up. We kind of start picking ourselves apart. And again, adopting a not so nice mood and attitude. Emotionally speaking, we are definitely going to be ripping the band-aids off of our wounds, maybe picking some scabs, so to speak. There is this aspect where we are kind of more so in the old version of self's way of thinking and feeling than the new version of self that, of course, wants us to feel good, confident, and empowered. The moon is then going to sextile, beautiful interaction, with the North Node in Aries energy. That North Node trying to get us on the right path, trying to get us to see where it is that we can grow and heal and evolve, where it is that, again, we're trying to kind of move on and move forward. This is a positive interaction, which means that we're starting to really kind of see where there are options, there are opportunities to improve, to do better, to be better, to grow, to heal, to evolve, to get us in the situation and circumstance where we are able to make some progress on a brand new path towards a brand new goal, vision, or idea. The moon is then going to semi-square Mars. Mars being the god of war, ruling over physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. Mars is in Cancer energy, not his most favorable spot to be in. He's hella emotional, hella defensive, and of course, willing to fight, defend, protect what it is that he's already built, already created. We are in preservation mode. We are really defensive, especially from outside criticism and anything or anyone that is going to disrupt our inner realm stability. The moon and Mars coming together in this way definitely going to highlight where we're feeling blocked, where we're feeling challenged, where we're feeling frustrated, maybe a little bit angered at certain people, places, or things. There's a particular circumstance that we're definitely feeling challenged with, holding us back from really kind of moving on and moving forward because, again, the emotional instability is being kind of frazzled, is being kind of destabilized. So again, we can learn a lot from a lot of the negative thoughts, negative emotions that take over. And again, in this particular interaction, because the moon in Gemini is trying to think of all different solutions, all different options, all different opportunities to move on and move forward, the frustration is going to illuminate where it is that we can't hold a specific position, a specific line any longer, where it is that we have to kind of, really challenge our emotions and our mental plane to override this particular emotion, this particular perspective, this particular conflict. The moon is going to make a positive interaction with Neptune, who of course is retrograde in his rulership in Pisces energy. This is going to kind of lift our spirits again. This is going to pluck us out of that funkiness, out of that anger, out of that frustration, remind us that there are good things, and the good things are working for us. And there's going to be a download of intuition that is going to help us fill in the gaps of some of the voids, some of the missing puzzle pieces that, again, we're gaining perspective on, we're gaining new ideas, new information with. Emotionally speaking, this is going to help kind of renew our soul and our spirit, refresh our ideas and our emotions. Again, just a little bit of a reminder of what it is that we're building towards to kind of help build confidence to where it is that we were angered earlier on in the day. The moon is then going to make a harsh interaction with Mercury. So Mercury rules over the Gemini energy that the moon is currently in. And of course, Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves. Mercury's in Scorpio energy, again, trying to bring things up in order to break things down, in order to come to a complete understanding of situations and circumstances that have already transpired. Why? Well, because there are missing details. We're kind of left questioning a lot of things, and we do have to kind of reflect back, put the detective hats on in order to kind of, again, kind of comb, if you will, over some of the details that we may have missed, especially while heavily influenced by that eclipse energy. So the moon being our heart space, Mercury being our head space, they're not on the same page. The moon in Gemini energy, rapidly trying to process where it is that we go from here. Mercury in Scorpio energy, trying to rapidly process how we ended up here. The moon is, of course, trying to come up with solutions. Mercury's trying to come up with solutions too, but we feel like we're missing some information and details. Therefore, again, putting the Scorpio detective hat on, we're looking back, we're ruffling some feathers, we're unearthing a lot of information and details that, again, we may have missed under the influence of that eclipse energy. The sun, late in these Libra degrees, the sun is going to make a very harsh interaction with Neptune, who of course is retrograde in Pisces energy. This is going to make it very hard to focus, very hard to concentrate. Again, the sun in Libra energy trying to weigh the pros and cons. We're up, we're down, we're all over the place. Neptune brings in a level of confusion and a level of delusion. And so now we're trying to focus on where it is that we want to go from here, but we're not really clear on the path, on the plan, on the strategy, on the dream, on the goal, on the vision. And we're not feeling so hot. We're not feeling so confident. We're not feeling like we have what it takes to make the major changes that we know that we need to make. And of course, because we're really feeling pressurized to come to a certain choice point, a decision point, and we're not able to even have a little bit of clarity in our mental plane, this is very discouraging. We are not feeling like we are, I'm going to say, making any progress, like we are healing, like we are growing. Again, just a reminder, those final degrees of any signs bring on impulse, bring on urgency. And again, with Neptune kind of, bringing a level of confusion, we're definitely not seeing things as they are. The moon in Gemini energy then going to make an awkward interaction with the sun in Libra energy. This is air on air action. And normally, if this was a positive kind of influence, we would be gaining insight, we would be gaining information, we would be a little bit more clear in our mental plane in what it is that we want, need, and desire. This isn't a horrible interaction, but it's definitely not the most positive one. And of course, this is going to really highlight for us where there is confusion, where there is tension, where there is this back and forth kind of playing out in our mental planes on trying to kind of come to a certain choice point, a certain decision point. Anytime that the sun and the moon are coming together, there's going to be an aha moment. There's going to be an emotional awareness of what it is that we want, need, and desire. But when aspected in a not so nice way, these realizations come out of frustration, come out of anger, come out of reaching a particular breaking point. The moon is then going to get into the boxing ring square off with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations, willpower, and discipline. And of course, Saturn is retrograde in this Pisces energy, showing us where it is that, again, in our inner realm, we need to boss up. We need to have a stronger sense of determination, of willpower, of discipline to kind of cut the crap with the old version of self, that old false belief system, and where it is that we have to build something new. But of course, a square highlights the tension, highlights the conflict, highlights where it is that we're going through growing pains. And normally, Gemini energy and Pisces energy will bring a spark of creativity, bring a new solution to the forefront of our mental planes. But this is a square, meaning, emotionally speaking, we're trying to come up with the answers. We're trying to see both sides of the coin. But here's the thing. We have old perspectives, old dialogues, old emotions coming up, clouding our judgment. We're not able to see things clearly. And so there is a heaviness, there is a weight, there's this negative narrative that is taking over because we are, again, frustrated, not able to kind of see the forest past the trees. The moon is then going to make an awkward interaction with Pluto, the great transformer, who of course is in the final degrees of Capricorn energy. This is going to intensify our emotions. Pluto always turns the volume up in intensity on how it is that we're thinking, how it is that we're feeling. Because if this was a positive interaction, we would be feeling empowered to take our control and power back over our lives, especially over our emotional realm. But because this is an awkward interaction, we're definitely going to feel challenged. And in some cases, we may even feel defeated. And in some cases, we may even take on the most negative narrative, angered and frustration perspective that we could possibly adopt at this particular point in time. We're going to sit in that funk for like 4, maybe even 5 hours. The next aspect taking place is between the moon in Gemini energy and Mercury, again, ruler over this Gemini energy, but Mercury's in Scorpio energy. So compared to the earlier interaction between these two, this is actually a positive one. This is us kind of starting to clear the air, so to speak, starting to clear up the confusion, starting to adopt a better narrative, starting to kind of see where the pieces of the puzzle, even though we earn those puzzle pieces through tension and conflict and struggle, where they're kind of snapping together, illuminating where it is that we have to communicate our frustrations, communicate, get some things off of our chest, really start speaking our truth, being real and raw and vulnerable with our awarenesses, with this new, I'm going to call it, understanding of certain situations and circumstances gone by. Emotionally speaking, in this Gemini energy, again, weighing the pros and cons of new ideas, of new options, new opportunities. Mercury in the Scorpio energy, there's an intensity here. We're willing to change and transform not only the way that we're thinking, but the way that we're feeling in order to get that heart and head in alignment so that we can engage the physical body to take action, to make moves. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction with the North Node in Aries energy. So now we're thinking about the future in a much more positive way. We're feeling a little bit more confident compared to earlier in the day. We are starting to see options and opportunities that not only look good, but that feel good as well, in order for us to grow, to heal, to evolve, to move on, to get on the path that is going to lead us into our next chapter, into our next mission, into our next purpose. The last thing that we have going on here today is the sun in the final degrees of Libra energy. The sun is making a very awkward interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in this Pisces energy. So first of all, this means that we're going to find it very hard to feel good, to feel content, to feel satisfied with our current situations and circumstances. Of course, the Libra energy has us on the fence about certain people, places, and things. We are, again, kind of receiving a harsh reality check from Mr. Saturn here, who, of course, wants us to build ourselves up in our inner realm in a much more disciplined, determined, stronger type of way. And we just feel like we're blocked. We're either being blocked by the universe, blocked by a particular person, blocked by a situation or circumstance that we just want to kind of bulldoze through. And so we're kind of getting discouraged. We're getting down on ourselves. We are going to be adopting a little bit more of a negative Nancy narrative, a negative Nancy perspective on particular topics and themes that, of course, we wish we weren't dealing with right now, that we're trying to process, that we're trying to put behind us so that, again, we can freely feel like we can grow, like we can heal, like we can move on.